Hello. Hello. How is everyone doing? How are you? How are you? It is Wednesday. Hi, sister. How are you? Hey, 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 hey. So I've been getting mixed some people say start right on time. Don't wait. Some people say, oh man, you already done. And I just was about to get on. So I'm trying to navigate it all. So I'm going to give it one more minute and then I'll get started. But how are you doing today? Tell me what you think the clearance rack is going to be about. Hey, hey, how is everybody? Hey. All right, well, it is, I'm going to give it to 5:03. I'm not going to keep you guys long because, these are just chats. And so, if you want a little bit more, a little deeper, start on time, a little grace. Amen. You want to go a little deeper. That's what my Tuesdays are. And I don't know if maybe you don't know, but I do a Tuesday radio station, radio show. And it's at www. I guess I should put it on here, huh? www. I just saw where I can enable questions and answers. But www.kpmradio.com. And it comes on at 12 our time, 12 Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then it also comes back on the repeat at 9 p.m. Central Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I know you're like, why so late? Well, it's late like that because it actually is being broadcast over in Nigeria. OMGGGGG. People are listening to me in other continents. I can't even believe it. Like I'm shook. But okay, I'm gonna get started. So the clearance rack. I can't say this one was a Monique idea because it was not. I actually I heard a man speaking, and he was talking about women if women took themselves off the clearance rack, we would see a different standard of men. And I was like, man, the clearance rack. And so, I started reflecting over my own life, and I said, I'm not sure when I put the clearance rack sticker on my forehead, but I for sure have had a clearance rack sticker on my forehead. And I don't know when I snatched it all the way off. And sometimes it's a little residue and I have to, remind myself who I am and what I am and whose I am, more importantly. And I just wanted to kind of navigate this with you. And so I will say, most of my life, I've been on the clearance rack. I was behind in school. I was not a likable person. I just wasn't. I wasn't the kid that people liked. I wasn't. I wasn't that girl when I was growing up. I was not the liked daughter. I was not. I wasn't the person that got invited to the sleepovers and to be completely transparent, I lived my life in the shadow of my sister. And my sister is 20 months younger than me, but she was the more likable one. And so when she would get invited over to different people's homes, I would go along with her. It would just be like, oh, well, Monique got to go too. So, because I ain't going to have one here. I want to have some time to myself. So I would kind of tag along. And it's usually the other way around. It's usually the younger one has to tag along with the older one. But that wasn't the case because I wasn't the liked child. And, my best friend was my dad. And because I identified with him, he struggled with reading. I struggled with reading. Like we had a lot of things in common. And so when he passed away, I was then left alone until I met a little girl at church and we became friends. But as I started to just think about and let sink in what the man on Facebook was saying about the clearance rack, and sorry, I just got a text. Let me turn the phone upside down. And so I spent 90% of my life on the clearance rack. I picked friends while I was on the clearance rack. I picked a husband when I was on the clearance rack. I picked a father for my child when I was on the clearance rack. And I know some of you gonna say, what's wrong with the clearance rack? I only shop the clearance rack. I'm the queen of a sale. I'm the king of a discount. I'm not going into the Polo store if I don't have a coupon. And it's nothing wrong with the clearance rack. It's what's on the clearance rack. When we think about the clearance rack, when I think about going to the clearance rack, they're usually the too small clothes. There may be some type of minor hole or it's dirty, it's last season, it's some type of damage, just something is just, and you didn't value it enough to pay for it when it was at its peak, at the how much it would cost. And so I started thinking about myself and how I may say I'm a diamond, but I was allowing myself to be purchased at rhinestone price. I allowed people to have access to me that couldn't afford the diamond. Like I remember I used to wear the badge of honor that said I was a diamond in the rough. No, you're not. You're a diamond. Because whatever's rough about you, another person can't clean it up. They can't polish it up. God got to do that. And so when I started just thinking about that over this week, after hearing the Facebook clip that I saw, it was just a little clip. And I thought about Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. We are made in God's image. What part of that is damaged? What part of that is too little? What part of that is just second best? I'm made in his image. You're made in his image. We're not on the clearance rack. And in Galatians chapter 3:26, it says, we are God's children. How can I be the great I am's daughter, yet I'm on the clearance rack? So there were some things I had to destroy in me. Y'all know my favorite verse is Isaiah chapter 61, verse 3. And it talks about getting that beauty for your ashes. And in the verse, it talks about, you will be, instead of sorrow, you will have joy. And it's going, but then I thought about ashes. How do you get ashes? Ashes come from something being burned. There were some things in me that I have to allow God to come and burn away. That's how I was removing myself from being on that clearance rack. The more I allowed him to pour into me and tell me about me, the more you allow him to pour into you and tell you who you are. Not the scale, not our kids. Nadia asked me one day, I don't even know how we got on the topic. I think we were just talking about grandmother names. And so she said, what would you want my children to call you? And I said, blessed. And she was like, my kid's not going to call you blessed. And so I showed her in the scriptures that that's actually an honor. Your children will call you blessed. And so she was like, oh, okay. We just laughed about it. But I want to take us through some strategies for how we go from being on the clearance rack. Number one, create and reflect on your values and your beliefs. So we know that's going to the word, knowing what God says and who he says you are. Number two, forgive yourself, whatever it is, however, how many years ago. You will be surprised. Like I said, I picked a husband while I was on the clearance rack because I didn't know how valuable I was. So I saw things that I didn't like. Yeah, I promise y'all, I was the poster child for Betty Wright when she said a piece of man is better than no man. I believe that. And because I thought I was on this clearance rack because I didn't think I was worthy, I didn't think I was pretty, whatever the opposite of good, I thought that was me. I accepted subpar. Not to say that he was a bad person or a good person or whatever, because it's not about him, it's about me, right? Even though that marriage was 20 something years ago, I have to forgive me, because when you don't, you'll still have some things attached to you that keeps you from being able to move forward. So number two, forgive yourself. Number three, embrace your flaws. Whatever your flaws are, embrace them. They're flaws. We're not perfect. We serve a perfect one. So embrace your flaws. Number three, challenge negative thoughts. When I was in therapy, we did tapping. My homie, you on here, you could talk about that tapping, where one of the things she said, when negative things will come up, I needed to tap. And so sometimes you'll see me doing this when I'm thinking, and it's because I'm tapping those negative thoughts up out of me. Tapping because it's in my nature, because of I sat on that clearance rack so long. I guess it's almost like, I'm not adopted, but I guess it would be like, the kids that's at the orphanage, like, oh, pick me, pick me, pick me. And I had that kind of mentality. And then it's like, dang, I didn't get picked again. So then and I kept like living a life like that, to where I finally was like, I don't care who picked me. Just you pick me, you got me, it's good. And that doesn't work. It just doesn't. So challenge negative thinking. Ask yourself, why am I thinking these things? What is it about this situation that's triggering this response? Tap into that, deal with that. Number five, connect with supportive people. Now understand, my friends, I'll ask them, hey, can I emotionally dump on you? Because everybody cannot people are dealing with their own lives. They can't be your umbrella sometimes. So sometimes you need to go get you some professional help. And it is nothing wrong with having Jesus and taking a pill. Because if that's what you need, that's what you need. Nothing wrong with that. I am pro therapy. Number six, don't compare yourself. The moment you start comparing yourself is the downfall of it, because you miss the blessing of where you currently are. You completely miss it. Number seven, avoid seeking outside validation. You got to look in the mirror and say, I am the jack stuff. I'm it. You can't, because if you go around looking for other people to validate you, what if they don't see it? What if what you doing ain't all that jamming in their mind, but it's jamming for you? And maybe it's amazing to God, but you looking for another person to validate that, and it's just not going to work. And we find that a lot in dating and in marriage, and like with the wedding ring. I remember when I got engaged, one of the sisters at the church, she took my finger and she was like, how many carats is it? And I told her. She was like, he did good. He did good. And I just started laughing, like, we got to be careful about seeking outside validation. If you like it, love it, and move on with it. Number 8, and this is the last one, contribute to something bigger than yourself. When you start to contribute to a bigger cause, a greater cause, and even if it's like this, I started doing these chats because I wanted to help other people. And I promise you, Wednesdays, Satan is busy. Sometimes these are my worst days. Sometimes I'm like, Lord, I don't want to get on, but it's bigger than me. It's so much bigger than me. So I just want to run back through those for people who got on late. Number 1, create and your values and your beliefs. Reflect on those. Number 2, forgive yourself. Number 3, embrace your flaws. Number 4, challenge those negative thoughts. Number 5, connect with supportive people / get professional help if that's what's needed. Number 6, don't compare yourself. Number 7, avoid seeking external validation. And number 8, contribute to something bigger than yourself. All right, y'all. I'm not telling y'all don't shop on the clearance rack. I'm telling you, take yourself off the clearance rack because you were bought with a price. We too valuable to be on the clearance rack. And we are precious. We need to be in a case that's locked up, and only certain people that meet certain criteria can even walk in the store and unlock us. All right, y'all. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for supporting. Again, if it's at all possible, come on. Check me out on Tuesdays. Again, that is www.kpmmradio.com, and I'm on Tuesdays from it's 12 noon Central Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then it's repeated at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much, and I look forward to chatting with you next Wednesday if the Lord says the same. All right, bye.